Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with another awesome weekend figure review. Today we are going over the Age of Apocalypse Sugarman Build-A-Figure Wave, Marvel's Wild Child. And I'm so glad that they finally gave a figure for Kyle, because in the Age of Apocalypse, Sabretooth and Wild Child, his real name from what I understand is Kyle, just a great character in my opinion. We'll get more into him here in a second, and as you can see here, you get all the cool stuff here. You get another Sugarman Build-A-Piece, which I think that is his big old hairy man back there. Come around to the top, you still get that really cool Age of Apocalypse finish on the top, which I really like. See that it says Build-A-Figure Sugarman. And then of course, you know, the really cool, which I'm really glad that they're using the Amazing and Astonishing X-Men logo there. Come around to the side, and this is actually a really cool rendition of Wild Child. Again, I always prefer the comic versions, but just for this one, I think that looks a lot better, especially compared to when we looked at Jean Grey and Weapon X. I think this one looks a heck of a lot better, and I really like that Apocalypse artwork. You come around here, you get a really cool product shot, which I like that they use his chain like that, because Sabretooth is always dragging him around like, come here, and you get to read it, get it to where you can pause it and read it. Same thing with the figures that you need from the line. I'll pause that, or get a thing where you guys can pause it and look at your leisure of the figures that you need from this line. Come around here, same cool artwork. Come around here, same cool figure. Come to the bottom, legal stuff, who cares? But what we do care about is Wild Child, an awesome figure or not. So let's go ahead and get Kyle out of his box and get a closer look at him. So here's Wild Child out of the packaging, and I have to say, guys, this, for me, is an actual wonderful character. Wild Child was always one of my favorite staples of the Age of Apocalypse. Now, I wasn't too sure on his 616 backstory, but we'll get into that in a moment. But, I took him out, started playing around with him, and Kyle Gibney is a really well-articulated character. I've heard some people say that they're not too fond of this one, but again, it's all up into how you feel. Are you a big fan of the Age of Apocalypse or not? And him and Sabretooth as a team in that story were phenomenal. And to just get him out and kind of get him into a feral stance and to come with an accessory, oh man, that is just, yeah. Because as we saw, not many of these Age of Apocalypse line has come with accessories, and I think that has to do with the budget of the Sugarman figure. So I'm glad when you can get one, and then if you can find stuff like this rock I found in my backyard, just kind of adds to a nice little outside piece. So with that said, as you can see, I'm really amped up for this figure, so let's get him off the stand and get a closer look. So before we even get into Wild Child, I wanted to take a look at this chain. So let's go ahead and put Wild Child here in the backdrop. But I just kind of really lost my cookies when I saw that he came with an accessory. I was like, no way, an Age of Apocalypse figure comes with a figure, and it's his chain, which is one of his definitive items from the comic books, because old Sabretooth's always dragging him around by it, because in that universe, Sabretooth is the alpha male and Kyle's kind of like his subservient to it. But I like what they did here. I kind of wish that they would have included another one that was a little more floppy instead of this one where it's perpetually bent this direction. That would have been cool, because then there's times where you try to pose this with both of them and it just does not work because of how bendy it is. But nonetheless, it's just a welcome change. And as you can see, it's straight up silver, so it looks nice and has a nice reflect into it. I kind of wish they would have left either black wash this in between or just punch those out on, again, I'm pretty sure that they didn't want to go full out on the budget, but nonetheless, and it just looks great. I like the way these curl here. You can put someone's arm through it, so that looks really cool like that. I really, really like this accessory, and there's so much that can be done with it. And it just easily pops into Kyle's back right there. You just take it, and bloop, it's in. So when you get it posed, just be careful, because it does pop in and out easily. You don't want to bust that. Then you're not going to have a good time. Okay, so that's the accessory for the chain. That's cool. Let's get that out of there and let's talk about Wild Child now. So for his Earth 295 appearance, the Age of Apocalypse universe was like Sabretooth X-Men Alpha #1. That's where we meet a majority of our X-Men. So again, if you guys are big Age of Apocalypse fans like I am, definitely need to make sure you have X-Men Alpha in your collection. Either the foil cover, which is the one I got, and oh, the thing is so beautiful, and of course, 90s cheese all around, or I think they released a regular cover too. But what's neat, and this is something I did not know until I kind of dug a little bit, is in the 616 universe, because this is another one character, kind of like a Morph, where his backstory is just all over the place. His first appearance was in the original Alpha Flight #1, but that was his cameo appearance. He did not do a full appearance until Alpha Flight #11. And then what really got me excited, and I did not know this, I love learning things, or as they say, the more you know, is that he was created by John Byrne. And so I did not know he was intended to be an Alpha Flight character. So I think that's a really, really neat idea. And then I just like what Scott Lobdell did with Wild Child in the Age of Apocalypse, because he's just an awesome character. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get straight into all the paint apps and all that stuff. And as you can see, I really like this head sculpt. So you see how we just get the, the irises there, just that straight blank white. I said this on the Weapon X and the Sabretooth review. They should have done that on those characters as well, because when you give them pupils, you give them those snarls, and then you give them pupils, it just kind of takes away from it. Especially in the comics, whenever Wolverine was mad, his pupils would disappear, and just how comics are, that's how they would show that they were mad. And then the majority of Astonishing X-Men, Sabretooth did not have pupils either. It was always just the white iris. So when he snarls and growls and gets into a fight, it just looks so much more menacing. And then what's really nice is on this one, you see how they kind of just gave a little bit of like a, I don't know if it has a pink or kind of a purple wash right there under the eyes. It just really kind of helps add to accentuate those eyes. And then you see this blonde hair. This is what I kind of wish they would have given the Toy Biz Sabretooth, which if Hasbro, if you're listening, if you release an Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth, this is definitely the hair that would match perfectly on Creed. And I love these teeth. He's just, I'm going to bite you in the face. And of course, just that snarl just looks great. And even they kind of give him that haggard look, as you can kind of see on his cheekbones. Just love that attention to detail and stuff like that. It looks good, especially the whiskers on the side. It doesn't look too fake. That looks good. Same thing with the hair. Nice gold all the way through. And then, I like that the hair kind of covers that ball joint so it's not too intruding. And then these, I love that majority of all the Age of Apocalypse X-Men had these kind of studded collar things on. I don't know why they went with it. I don't know if it was just kind of like, their post-apocalyptic way of doing belts and stuff for the 90s then. But it looks great. I like how this leather, it's supposed to look cracked, so they have all those lines in there because, this is an end of the world, so nothing's supposed to look pretty. So this looks like it's getting ready to to dry up and crack. Got that black wash with the silver, looks great. And then I like this orangish brown outfit, just super, super 100% comic book accurate. Like the whiteness on the nails there, so you can actually kind of see that he can claw you and whatnot, so it's not just painted flesh tone. Same thing with the toes. Those look nice. I mean, they look a little like swamp thinged or web-footed. Web-footed? I was supposed to say web-feeted, but that sounded wrong. But yeah, you kind of like how the little ripples and whatnot just makes it look animalistic. But yeah, these paint apps, as you can see, just look beautiful on this Wild Child figure. I don't see any, problems on mine. Sometimes you'll see them that have scruffs and dings. I think the only thing that on this particular one, I don't know if this is every Wild Child, but you see where they kind of had to glue the figure here, how it connects. Well, there's a couple of mine that have this. I hate when you see this right here where it looks like it's going to come undone. So if any of y'all know how to, loosen this up with heat and snap it back together, let me know. I mean, this isn't going anywhere. I've tried, pushing it. It's not going anywhere. And of course, the muscles here look really nice. I like that they just add a little bit of black just to help it. And of course, with the shininess, looks great in the light. So yeah, these paint apps look absolutely wonderful, and I am just thrilled for this wild child. Articulation wise, this is great. There's only one problem, and I'm gonna let it go because I am just overly thrilled with this figure, and we'll get into that right now. So for the head, he can look down that much. That is awesome, almost all the way to his chin, which is great. But just kind of like with a lot of the other characters that have long hair, even when you try to use the shifter here, you know, if you shift it forward, you can get it all the way down, and then you shift it back, still gets the same thing. But even if like you try to shift the head forward, because of the hair in the back and where the chain goes, he cannot look up too much. Even if you try to shift the head back to try to get over that little clump, still that's about as high up as he can get. That's my only problem, but I'm letting it go because it's like whatever. And then of course the head can go that far. And these figures, as I've said, do go 360s, guys, but I don't like to do that because you never know, you're gonna run into some bad problems. Has some head play there, so good stuff there. And then the arms can go up that much so you can get the YMCA going on. He does have the upper bicep swivel, which is great. And then, love it, double jointed elbows. I like when Hasbro listens. So single jointed ones are just so frustrating to deal with. And then the arms do spin 360, so you get a well-rounded articulation there. Same thing with the wrists, 360, boom, 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 boom. Can go up that much. Can go down that much. And see, even with a little bit of orange, it's supposed to look like it goes down onto his hand from his shirt, so that's cool. At first I thought that was a paint problem, but then when I looked at it on further inspection, I was like, oh, that's supposed to be like that. So very, very cool there. You can twist that way, ab crunch can go down that far, which is a really nice front ab crunch. Back, not so much, only about that much. It's okay, that's fine. We can deal with that. Legs can go out that much. Does have the upper thigh cut. No boot cut, that's all right, we can deal with that. And then legs can go out that far forward. I mean, wow, look at that. Especially since he's supposed to be more of a feral character. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, again, thank you, Hasbro, for the double jointed knees. Love it. I'm so glad they're starting to get rid of those single jointed things because that's so frustrating when you're trying to pose characters. Feet can go up that much down. Now with this foot, I don't know if this is every character or if this is every mold of this one, but this pivot, or this little joint here, is really tight, and so you have to be really careful with it. You may have to heat it up if yours is having trouble with that. So just be careful, word of caution there. And then of course he has great ankle pivots. So yeah, that's what I meant. This guy is pretty well articulated. Minus, not being able to tilt his head all the way back or the back crunch. That's all right. Those are little things like that I can forgive for being able to have double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, and a great front ab crunch, and just great pivoting in the head for all sorts of motion there. So that is awesome. And here's Kyle against all the other characters from the wave that we have gone over thus far: Sunfire, Weapon X, Jean Grey, Morph, X-Man, and the added addition of the Marvel Legends Toy Biz Sabretooth. And this is why I wanted to do Victor first, and I was very adamant about getting this figure, is because when you put these two together, guys, come on, how awesome does that look? I do wish, and this is what I was talking about a minute ago, as you can see how blonde Kyle's hair is compared to this sculpt of Victor. Yeah, it could be a little offsetting, but nonetheless, to have both of them like that and that added addition of that accessory chain just brings me back to my childhood of remember reading the comics for the first time and thinking these characters are actually really cool in this really screwed up, dark kind of way. But as you can even see, even with this Toy Biz one right there, the scaling looks great. Of course, Wolverine's the more short one, Wildchild's kind of the next one. He's more of a normal size adult, and then Victor being the powerhouse that he is, kind of towers over everybody. Again, the only one that still kind of towers, but that's just because of the flame tip on his head. Whoop, there he goes, is Sunfire. But, you know, if he didn't have that added addition, you know, he would just be a regular sized character. So we'll go ahead and give him a pass on that. But nonetheless, guys, just look at these figures. That's why I said I was really hesitant when they announced this Age of Apocalypse line. But when you see them at the store, it just does not do it justice till you get them, bring them home, and look at them up close like I've been doing. And they're all absolutely so beautiful. That's why I'll even let go that we didn't get any accessories for Morph or for X-Man or for Jean, and especially Sunfire. I wish they would have given him some atomic flame accessories. But I can let that go. And then when I saw Wild Child came with that chain, yes, I know that seems kind of trivial, but it's just those little details, guys, that just make it like, oh, I love it. And I can't wait to see some more Age of Apocalypse figures. And that's why I'm kind of hoping that this deluxe-sized Apocalypse that they're going to be releasing, I hope that he is going to be awesome, because I'm really thinking about that one, guys. But nonetheless, just looking at all of them, scaling, paint apps, they look beautiful together. And if you want to build yourself an Age of Apocalypse shelf, these are the characters that you want to be doing, guys. That's what I'm talking about. And I got 2 more now. I got Dark Beast to do and Sugar Man himself. So make sure to stay tuned on those. But we just want to sit here and celebrate the characters that we've done thus far. Overall, guys, I think Wild Child is a wonderful figure. His articulation's great. I think him as a figure by himself is absolutely phenomenal. There's no problems that I could find with the paint apps or the articulation. And he comes with an accessory, like I said at the beginning of this. Just an overall great figure and adaptation of this Earth 295 character. Now again, like I said, there's some people who are like, no, I didn't like him. But just for me, man, just to have a tangible version of one of my favorite characters from my all-time favorite X-Men event, happy days overall. So if you guys have enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost check with your local comic shop to see if they have any of these AOA figures in stock. If not, then you can go the other routes that I've stated before. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little apocalypse bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. You can come to the channel, and we love having a dialogue with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So before you go, we will have a photo slideshow of Kyle here and all sorts of fancy poses here at the end. And with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.